Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we are diving straight into what I think is a totally fascinating paradox. We're looking at the spiritual parity between two figures who, well, they seem to exist in completely opposite universes, right? A humble street cobbler and an esteemed spiritual guru. It's an incredible concept that really challenges how we view societal roles, so let's just get right into it.
I mean, it sounds like a riddle. What profound spiritual connection could possibly unite someone fixing shoes on a dusty sidewalk with a wise teacher guiding souls toward enlightenment? Well, today we're going to explore how the source material positions both of these figures as equally, and absolutely indispensably, guides for the complete human journey. By the end of this, you might just look at the everyday people in your life in a completely new light.
So, here is our roadmap for decoding this parallel. We'll hit life's two essential journeys, the meaning of Moksha, elevating the inner self, distinguishing Sat from Asat, and finally, the nectar and the container.
All right, starting with part 1, life's two essential journeys. Let's map out the two fundamental tracks that every single human being travels on.
Our source beautifully contrasts the outer, physical journey with the internal, spiritual quest. Think about it for a second. Our lives are essentially split, aren't they? On one hand, we have this outer journey. This is where we're running after wealth, strength, beauty, physical pleasures in the material world. And to walk this path, you quite literally need shoes. Because let's face it, walking barefoot on hot, stony pavement, yeah, that's a really quick way to stop your physical progress. But on the other hand, we have the inner journey. This is the internal, spiritual quest, aiming for ultimate liberation, or moksha. And to walk this path, you don't need footwear, you need wisdom.
Now, look at the parallel hazards here. It's honestly pretty brilliant. Just as we need shoes to protect our feet from physical stones, thorns, and that blistering heat of the road, we absolutely need a guru's wisdom to protect our consciousness, our chitta. On the inner journey, the obstacles aren't physical stones. They're the thorns of worldly desires, the thick dust of our own ego, and the burning fire of anger. So the cobbler protects your physical feet, while the guru protects your spiritual consciousness.
Moving on to part 2, the meaning of Moksha. The linguistic connections here make this whole parallel even more mind-blowing.
Okay, so the very words we use actually reveal the connection. Both terms originate from the ancient Sanskrit root word moch, which means to free, to cut bonds, or to release. When a cobbler mends your shoe, the specific term for this act of fixing and freeing you to walk again is moksha. And when a spiritual teacher frees you from the endless cycle of birth and death, guiding you to ultimate liberation, that is moksha. They share the exact same etymological DNA. How cool is that?
So the crucial takeaway here is that both the cobbler and the guru are ultimately doing the exact same work. They act as agents of unmochan. They are untying knots. The cobbler unties the physical knots that halt your bodily progress, and the guru unties the mental and spiritual knots that trap your soul. Both of them are basically granting you the freedom to safely keep moving forward on your respective paths.
Which brings us to part 3, elevating the inner self. Let's see how ancient texts cement this entire concept. The source draws heavily on the wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita, specifically chapter 6, verse 5. This is a profound verse that reminds us we must elevate the self by our own mind and not degrade it. It states that the mind is the friend of the conditioned soul, but it's its enemy as well. In the context of our journey, it means if you don't take action to repair what's broken, you're going to stagnate.
And this brilliantly illustrates the repair metaphor that stems from that scriptural wisdom. Think of it like this. If you have a torn shoe, and you stubbornly refuse to let a cobbler mend it, well, your outer journey simply stops. You can't walk over the sharp stones. Similarly, if your consciousness, your chitta, is bruised and broken by worldly desires, and you don't let a guru mend it, your spiritual journey comes to a grinding halt. The cobbler adds a physical soul to your shoe so you can navigate the outer world, right? Well, the guru adds the foundation of dharma to your life so you can navigate the inner world.
All right, part 4, distinguishing Sat from Asat. This brings us to another really critical realization on our inner journey.
The source continues by drawing on a second scriptural insight, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 16. This verse boldly declares that the unreal has no existence and the real never ceases to be. It says that the truth about both has been realized by the seers. But what does real and unreal actually mean for us as we travel? This is where the concept of vivek, or discernment, steps in. Without a guide, it's almost impossible to walk the spiritual path because we get constantly confused between asat and sat.
Asat is the temporary stuff, your physical body, your passing thoughts, or, even that fleeting frustration you felt in traffic today. Sat, on the other hand, is the eternal, the permanent witnessing soul inside you. The guru is the one who provides the discernment to see past the temporary illusion of the body, the asat, and awakens you to the eternal truth of the soul.
Now for part 5, the nectar and the container. How do we reconcile the physical world of the cobbler with the spiritual world of the guru? Our source offers an incredible unifying resolution here. It combines the physical and the spiritual into a single perfect metaphor. So think of your soul's wisdom, your ultimate spiritual potential, as a precious nectar, or amrit. Now, to carry this incredibly precious nectar through the harsh world, you absolutely need a safe physical container. And that container, that's your human body.
This is exactly where the profound interdependence shines. The cobbler's work ensures that the physical container can travel safely through the world without getting damaged. But what good is an intact container if the nectar inside spoils? That's where the guru steps in, protecting the nectar of your consciousness. Without the cobbler, the container is destroyed. But without the guru, the nectar inside is entirely lost. They are fundamentally incomplete without each other.
Which leaves us with a beautifully leveling truth. Because physical life is an absolute requirement to eventually achieve spiritual moksha, societal hierarchies just kind of melt away here. The person fixing shoes on the street and the sage dispensing wisdom are both equally worthy of our utmost reverence, or shraddha. Societal roles aren't really about higher or lower status. They are a web of deep interdependence that completely transcends human divisions.
So, I want to leave you with this final thought. Realizing this incredible balance between the container and the nectar, how might we view the everyday guides in our own lives with a profound new respect? The next time you see someone performing a mundane physical task that keeps our society moving, remember, they are protecting the containers that hold the nectar. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep questioning, keep learning, and as always, keep an eye on both of your journeys.